Hello there, how's it going? My name is June, and this is my 29th recording of the book Atomic Habits. In this one, we will look at chapter 16, How to Stick with Good Habits Every Day. So let's begin. Making progress is satisfying, and visual measures like moving paper clips or hairpins or marbles provide clear evidence of your progress. As a result, they reinforce your behavior and add a little bit of immediate satisfaction to any activity. The idea of this chapter is habit tracking, which has become quite popular on social media and internet, which is that keeping track of your habits. You can have a calendar on your wall or some to-do app. After you do something, you just check off the item from the list and it feels good. Checking off items from a list or making a cross on the calendar feels good, and this chapter, as we know, belongs to the section make it satisfying. So let's study more on habit tracking, why it's so good and how should we do it. A habit tracker is a simple way to measure whether you did a habit. The most basic format is to get a calendar and cross off each day you stick with your routine. Countless people have tracked their habits, but perhaps the most famous was Benjamin Franklin. Beginning at age 20, Franklin carried a small booklet everywhere he went and used it to track 13 personal virtues. This list included goals like lose no time, be always employed in something useful, and and avoid trifling confess and avoid trifling conversation. At the end of each day, Franklin would open his booklet and record his progress. Mm. So, very powerful idea. The most influential people of their time, such as Benjamin Franklin, used to track their habits. It's a good idea to keep track of what is important, right? You can't just I think Jim Rohn said, do not use your head as a file cabinet. Don't use it to store information because you can forget it, and it's just useless burden on yourself. So it's good to keep a record of what is important, and for the purpose of this book, the important thing are your habits, and it is very important to keep track of them so you know that you are doing them right, and you would also know that you are not doing them if if you are not keeping track of them. And that's the main idea, keeping track of your habit. Every successful person does that, so it's good if it's good to copy what they do. Now there's another idea, let's read it. Don't break the chain is a powerful mantra. Don't break the chain of sales call and you'll build a successful book of business. Don't break the chain of workouts and you'll get fit faster than you would expect. Don't break the chain of creating every day and you'll end up with an impressive portfolio. Habit tracking is powerful because it leverages multiple laws of behavior change. It simultaneously makes a behavior obvious, attractive, and satisfying. He says obvious, attractive, and satisfying. It feels satisfying and obvious. I'm not sure about attractive. I think it does make the behavior attractive. Let's see. Let's break down each one. Benefit number one, habit tracking is obvious. Recording your last action creates a trigger that can initiate your next one. Habit tracking naturally builds a series of visual cues like the streak of X's on your calendar. When you look at the calendar and see your streak, you'll be reminded to act again. Research has shown that people who track their progress on goals like losing weight and quitting smoking are all more likely to improve than those who don't. The mere act of tracking the mere act of tracking a behavior can spark the urge to change it. Yeah, it makes it obvious because when you look at the calendar and there is no X on today's date, you know that you haven't done it yet. And when there is a X, then you can be, left assured that you have done it and you don't need to worry about it anymore. So it's good for knowing that you did it, and also it's good for knowing that you didn't do it. So it's good for both, and I really like it personally because when I see an X, when there is no X, I have to do it before I go to bed, and before I go to bed, I actually check the calendar. So it's very good. It's very, it makes the habit extremely obvious. Yes. Habit tracking also keeps you honest. Most of us have a distorted view of our own behavior. We think we act better than we do. Measurement offers one way to overcome our blindness to our own behavior and notice what's really going on each day. One glance at the paper clips in a container, and you immediately know how much work you have or haven't been putting in. When the evidence is right in front of you, you are less likely to lie to yourself. Yes, and the idea is that let's say you have been working out for 1 week. Now, it might feel like you have been working out for more than 1 week if you are not tracking your habit, or you will have to constantly remind yourself how many days you have been working out. But if you can look at the calendar and see, well, I've been only working out for 1 week and I shouldn't expect too much return. So, so that's the idea. It tells you how much work you have really put in. So it helps you align your expectations with reality. Benefit number two, habit tracking is attractive. The most effective form of motivation is progress. Exactly. He has mentioned this over and over in the book. Motivation comes from progress. The people who are so driven, so motivated to work hard is because they have been able to get some result out of their work, and it just keeps them addicted. So once you get progress, it makes you really highly driven to work hard. The most effective form of motivation is progress. Whether you get a signal that we are moving forward, we become more motivated to continue down that path. In this way, habit tracking can have an addictive effect on motivation. Each small win fuels your desire. This can be particularly powerful on a bad day. When you are feeling down, it's easy to forget about all the progress you have already made. Habit tracking provides a visual proof of your hard work, a subtle reminder of how far you have come. Plus, the empty square you see each morning can motivate you to get started because you don't want to lose your progress by breaking the streak. Yeah, so the idea is that progress is a form of motivation is a form of progress. And when we see the calendar, we get motivated. I mean, for me, it's true. For me, it's definitely true. And this will work on a bad day as well. When you don't want to do it, you can actually see that you have put so much work and it would be so foolish to let it go to waste, right? Habit tracking is satisfying. This is the most crucial benefit of all. Tracking can become its own form of reward. It is satisfying to cross an item off your to-do list or to mark an X on the calendar. It feels good to watch your results grow, and if it feels good, then you are more likely to endure. Habit tracking also helps keep your eye on the ball. You are focused on the process. You are focused on the process rather than the result. You are not fixated on getting six pack abs. You are just trying to keep the streak alive and become the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. Well, there are several benefits, definitely. But there are also downsides of tracking, as we will see. I think I didn't include them, but some people get extra hard on tracking their habits that it actually backfires. The idea of habit tracking actually backfires. They try to track a, a lot of habits, for example, 10 habits, and it becomes a burden, first of all. And then they start tracking the wrong things here, for example. He's saying track your workouts, not your results. they start to track the wrong things. So for example, for a student, they might start tracking their their score, but your score is determined by how much you study. So if you get bad result, does that mean you didn't study very well, or something else? Or maybe how much money you make, right? But the money you make is determined by the work you do. So the idea is that tracking should always be internal, not external. It should be how much you do or what you do, not what you are getting. In summary, habit tracking creates a visual cue that can remind you to act. Is inherently motivating because you see the progress you are making and don't want to lose it. Feels satisfying whenever you record another successful instance of your habit. Now, tracking isn't for everyone, and there is no need to measure your entire life, but nearly anyone can benefit from it in some form, even if it's only temporary. Manual tracking should be limited to your most important habits. It is better to consistently track one habit than to sporadically track 10. Yes. I think the book is very good, but I think the most common pitfall would be to apply it in all aspect on your life and get burnout. If you want to get the most of this book, try to make one habit out of it, at least one, or at most I would say two. So, how to keep your habits on track? So we finished this one, and let's look at the next section. How to recover quickly when your habits break down. No matter how consistent you are with your habits, it is inevitable that your life will interrupt you at some point. Perfection is not possible. Before long, an emergency will pop up, you get sick, or your family needs a little more of your time. Whenever this happens to me, I try to remind myself of a simple rule: never miss twice. Never miss twice. The first time we miss, it's not. So let's read it. If I miss one day, I try to get back into it as quickly as possible. Missing one workout happens, but I am not going to miss two in a row. I can't be perfect, but I can avoid a second lapse. As soon as one streak ends, I get started on the next one. The first mistake is never the one that ruins you, it is the spiral of repeated mistakes that follow. Missing once is an accident, missing twice is the start of a new habit. I love this idea. So, what most people do, they miss once and they get so heartbroken by this by missing it once that they start and they stop doing it. They stop doing it, and but missing once is an accident, missing twice is a choice. That's what he's saying. You can miss once out of accident, but never, never, never miss twice. If you are missing twice, you are making a new choice. You are creating a new habit of you're creating a new habit of destroying your existing habit. This is a distinguishing feature between winners and losers. Anyone can have a bad performance, a bad workout, or a bad day at work. But when successful people fail, they rebound quickly. The breaking of a habit doesn't matter if the reclaiming of it is fast. Exactly. I think this principle is so important that I'll stick to it even if I can't do a habit as well as completely as I would like. Too often we fall into an all or nothing cycle with our habits. The problem is not slipping us. The problem is not slipping up. The problem is thinking that if you can't do something perfectly, then you shouldn't do it at all. Yep. You can't be perfect, right? You cannot be perfect. You don't realize how valuable it is to show up on your bad or busy days. Lost days hurt you more than successful days help you. If you start with $100, then a 50% gain will take you to 150. But 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 you only need a 33% loss take you back to 100. In other words, avoiding a 33% loss is just as valuable as achieving a 50% gain. Well, he explained it through math. I don't know how you would explain it in real life, but the idea is that your habit will become extreme. It's hard to make a habit easy by repetition, but by avoiding a few reps, your habit will begin to become hard very quickly. So it might take you months to go to the gym to make your exercise easier, but if you skip a few days, your exercise will start to become harder and harder. This is why the bad workouts are often the most important ones. Sluggish days and bad workouts maintain the compound gains you occurred from previous good days. Furthermore, it's not always about what happens during the workout, it's about being the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. It's easy to train when you feel good, but it's crucial to show up when you don't feel like it, even if you do less than you hope. A lot of good ideas from the book. The all or nothing cycle of behavior change is just one pitfall that can derail your habits. Another potential danger, especially if you're using a habit tracker, is measuring the wrong thing. Measuring the wrong thing. Knowing when to track a habit. I think this is it for this video, and in the next one, we'll continue when to track a habit. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.